Hey everybody, it is Feel Good Friday and I'm so excited. Megan Miles here. And today we're going to talk a little bit about leadership skills that will help you scale to six figures. And why I'm qualified to teach this is because I did exactly that with an amazing team. Leadership development is one of the areas that I'm so passionate about because I help developing people. I believe that it is our job to develop leaders in the world. In Genesis 1, it says, be fruitful and multiply, right? And so that is our purpose. We're always developing people. And so my business partner, Joan Robinson, and I especially have, worked alongside each other for the last 5-6 years, really on developing people and organizations. And so it's become a true passion of mine. So I'm excited for you to learn just an amazing, some nuggets, and some of this you might know, but learn some nuggets from this today. So first off, let's drop a 1 in the comments. If you're here live, I want to see some hearts, some 1, give me some love. If you're watching the replay, drop a 2 and let us know where you're tuning in from today too. If you are not typically on Feel Good Friday is when we go live every Friday at 1 p.m. Central, where we share a free training just for you to help you grow your business to become a #1 online business as a faith-based female entrepreneur. So, and I am your host, Megan Miles, and I'm excited to kind of dive into this today. So when you stay till the end, you're also going to learn about a free gift that I have for you today. So let's just dive right in. So last week, we talked a little bit about the effective sponsoring skills to not just recruit people, but actually sponsor them and inspire them into action. If you watched that, you definitely learned my go-to skill set on how to get everybody to call you back on your team, how not to get ghosted by new team members, how to effectively get goals from people and help them create a game plan to actually get into action and actually get results. Okay. So if you're tuning in, definitely be sure to go back and watch that replay if you missed it last week, because this is actually going to be a 4-week series soon. This whole month, it's going to be developed into a 4-week series. So everything layers on top of each other. So be sure to tune in next Friday at 1 Central for part 3 of this 4-week series. So again, if you're just jumping on, drop a heart in the comments, let us know. So how many of you would love to grow a multi-million-dollar organization with over thousands of people that join your organization? How would it feel to know that you've helped people actually climb up the ranks and develop their leadership skill sets alongside you? How would that feel? Let me know in the comments how would that feel. So I'm going to share a couple of the skills that have helped our team do the same, and that will help you scale to 6 figures. Or maybe you're like, I don't even want 6 figures. I just want to make $50,000 a year. Can I do that? Can I get an amen? Right? Because what could $50,000 a year even do for you? Right? What could an extra $1,000 consistent revenue, right? So when we build leaders, we build future revenue, we build future success for them, their families, our organization. So if you don't know a lot about me, by the way, I'm a self-sufficient mom to a 5-year-old named Anthony. I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I've been in this industry for just about 10 years. I'm most passionate about helping men and women, especially faith-based women lately. I'm like digging it, create a life by design through residual income. So that's what I love. This is all about creating passive and residual income. So some of you here might be like, what is leadership exactly? Okay, so let's talk about that really quickly. So leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And depending when you're watching this video, you might have a worksheet with you. And so you could actually access that worksheet and put that in. That's one of my favorite quotes from John C. Maxwell. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And so I want to ask you, how are you focused on serving and developing your influence? So I want you to think about also, what are the things that are working really well for you as a leader, and where are the areas that you really want to fine tune? Okay, so these 3 principles I'm going to share with you today are principles that have taken me almost 20 years to develop, and I'm still constantly fine-tuning, constantly, right? But I can remember the day distinctly that the fire for me to become a great leader was lit. And it was October of 2004. I want to take you back to October of 2004. I want you to imagine 14-year-old Megan in this little cheer uniform, red, white, and black as a Warriors cheerleader at Orem High School in Arizona. And I was at our high school football game. Actually, I had been sent to boarding school in the middle of nowhere, and it was a Friday night football game. And I remember seeing our head cheerleader, Caitlin O'Don, and I recognized her as a great leader. She was somebody who, everybody had great things to say. She always smiled. She always encouraged and uplifted people. And she became a light for other people. And that's when I recognized I want to be like Caitlin. And I realized that she was a good leader. I wanted to be not just a good leader, I wanted to be a great leader. I wanted to have people follow me, not because I wanted followers, but because I wanted to set good examples and set good intentions and help other people do the same. So leadership was just, for me, something that I was so excited to delve into. Over the next 10 years, I delved into leadership books. I started to work on my craft as a manager at Starbucks. And for me, it became about making people feel good and becoming a light in the darkness for many and helping others learn how to use their inner light. And so as a leader, when you're bringing people on board, they are going to recognize a difference. A lot of people have tried other things, but the truth is that they're going to probably be inspired into action, not based by what the company has to offer, the incentives, even sometimes the cash. They're going to be inspired into action by you. They're going to become committed to their business because of you. Okay. And this is what's really cool. So that 14-year-old caught the passion for leadership at a young age. And so now I am excited to be able to help others develop to become leaders in the industry. So I want you to think, what are you going to leave from this training here today feeling more confident in as a leader? And just jot down, if you're taking some notes, or put it in the comments, just what are some areas where you do feel strong as a leader? Are you confident that you're an encourager? You're a good delegator, like if you want to count that, but we're going to talk more on the true influence side of leadership, right? Not the managerial side, right? But what are some things that you're good at, and what are some things that you want to improve? And maybe go ahead and drop those in the comments or the chat box, depending where you're watching this and viewing this today. So here are, okay, if you guys are with me, say I'm with you, right? Okay, and again, raise your hands in the comments if you're ready to dive in to the 3 principles that will help you grow grow your relationship with your people and your business, okay? So number 1, I'm gonna give you all 3, and then we're gonna cover them before our freak out. So number 1 is building successful relationships. Number 2 is building influence. And number 3 is empowering others. So let's go. You might want to put those, leave some space for notes, and then go down. So building successful relationships. Relationships are the foundation of any business, every business. I can look back 10 years ago when I was given a script and started calling all these people and that I hadn't talked to in years. And I wondered why I wasn't successful. And then I look back now and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wasn't in relationship with them. Even if I had a relationship with them at one point or time, I didn't have a current ongoing relationship with them. So it just didn't make sense. So here's a couple steps of how you can do this, because building relationships with your people is key to helping inspire them into action, getting results, and helping them with some accountability, right? Because we want to coach and support, not just kind of let them run on their own and never get anywhere. So 1, we want to connect. Offer a genuine compliment to people, find something relatable. This could be whether you're building the relationship with them as a prospect, a potential prospect, a current team member, or a brand new team member. In order to lead, you have to be able to connect. The next is you want to build loyalty and trust, okay? You've got to show empathy and encourage people, right? Leaders touch a heart before they ask for a hand. I want you to write that down. Leaders touch a heart before they ask for a hand. So here's a couple of examples of how you can build a relationship within your current team, if you have one, is reaching out to new consultants from the get-go, right? Depending on the growth of your organization, like reaching out to all new consultants on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and your top 10. Recognize the people that are producing, especially, and then also recognize the people that aren't producing and that you might not know or might not have a relationship with anymore, where you can reconnect. And then, of course, getting to know your current leaders even better, right? So that's a little bit on building relationships. So go ahead and share like what really resonated with you there on building the successful relationships. Okay. The next thing is building influence. And again, if you have a worksheet here, leadership is influence. If you're watching this with me right now live, and I know you guys don't have the worksheet, it will be pinned to the group probably this weekend in the guides. And that's where we share all of the Feel Good Friday trainings. So my next favorite quote from John C. Maxwell is leadership is, this is the same one. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And you guys can tell, like I'm using some notes today, right? I don't normally ever use notes. I mean, notes sometimes, but not an outline. So all my trainings are typically just from the heart and the head. But I wanted to come with some good quotes for you guys today. So this is the other quote, is influence is the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something, or the effect itself. So notice you're influencing people's decisions, just like when they come on board, you're sponsoring, you're not recruiting, right? You're sponsoring them into action by influencing their decisions. You're influencing them how they're going to build their lead list. You're going to influence them how they're going to develop their why, things like that. How you track influence is how many people kind of wrote this. This is funny. Not funny. It's kind of wrong. But if you're wondering how can you track your influence, you might want to think how many people will attend your funeral. How many people, when you look back, when you're at your funeral looking down, how many people will be there because you helped and inspired them into action? And that's what it all boils down to, right? Is we're here to serve. And we know that when we are fruitful and multiply, right, we are living we're in the living word. That is what we're supposed to be doing. That's why we were created. So, I want you to think of some of the most influential people you can think of. Gandhi obviously always comes to mind. Go ahead and put in the comments when I say who is the most influential person in time that you can think of. Now, especially in this influencer world, right? That's where it comes from, because influencers influence your buying decision. You might even be like Kim Kardashian, Jennifer Lopez. Notice how also your values and what you believe and how you speak and how you show up and represent yourself influences people. So think about that, right? Because those are influential people, right? So, and then that leads into knowing who you stand or what you stand for and who you are, right? In order to be able to know how are you going to show up for everyone and how are you going to show up for yourself and to what standards. Also, you want to think about becoming an expert. Okay, what does becoming an expert mean? Okay, becoming an expert means that you are somebody that does the following things. You add value to people. Okay, that is huge. How are you adding value to people? Especially for those of you that are reaching out for sales and product sales. How are you adding value by sharing knowledge, etc., and servicing your people before you're asking for the sale? Okay, so add value, model the example, and draw people to you, not away from you. Okay, so those are some examples there. And then you also want to build trust and encourage others. Trust is the cornerstone of any solid relationship. So if people know, like, and trust you, they'll buy from you, they'll work with you, right? It's so important that you're building trust and you do what you say you're going to do. So this is so important when you're working with your team members. Building that trust so that they know they can count and rely on you and that you're going to do what you say you're going to do, right? So, and then the last step that you noticed here is that we shared is empowering others. Okay, this is huge because for me, this is something where this is where I really was able to work on my craft the most, because I was personally empowered by my leaders. So successful leaders empower others by delegating power and sharing their influence, position, and power with others. I'll give you the definition of empowerment, okay? And by the way, go ahead and drop your takeaway. What I know, I'm throwing like so many nuggets so fast with you guys, but drop your biggest takeaway so far. What's been your favorite part? So empowerment is the process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially in controlling one's life and claiming one's rights. Damn, mic drop. Excuse me, I just said damn. So this is so powerful. Wow, powerful because it's empowering. So what does empowering people, what does empowering people do, and what does it mean? By empowering others, we will build more ownership within them and their organization. So I'll give you a specific example. Most often what happens is leaders come to me and they say, I'm drowning in all the tasks I need to do to run my organization, okay? I asked them, well, who on your team is currently supporting you with these things? And usually it's no one, because they want to manage them. Either they want to manage it themselves, or they just don't know how to delegate it and empower other people. So here's one example that is so simple. Is, let's say a leader has a Facebook group. You can empower people by, asking someone to take charge of, a small task every week, one little task, right? Be a team player. So here's the 3 ways that you really want to focus on empowering. The first is you want to equip people. Okay. What does this mean? Is you want to give them the proper development and training in bite-sized chunks. Okay. You want to set them up with resources. You want to ask more questions and tell less. For example, if we're going back to the Facebook group strategy, instead of telling them what to do necessarily, maybe pick their brain and find out what they think, right? Empower them to come up with tasks themselves, and it might be like, one of the things we're really focused on the team is creating more engagement in the team page so that we can have more of a community. Hey, Janet, what are some things that you think we could be doing to increase the engagement? And she might say like, oh, well, if every Monday we did a post like about, what they were successful with at their parties this weekend, like I bet a lot of people would have feedback. Awesome. That's a great idea. How would you like to take that on and have that every week? Take charge on it, take ownership of that, so every week doing a post. Right. So asking them more questions rather than just telling them. No one wants to be told, I need you to do this in the Facebook group. I need you to do this. I need this. They're not working. If you're not their boss, right? We aren't bosses. We could be boss babes, but we're not bosses. Okay. And then again, noticing enabling versus empowering, because if you're telling people what you need, boom, 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 you're enabling them rather than empowering them. And you're enabling them just to become dependent on you. And the goal is you want them to become independent and learn to think creatively and come up with other resources and solutions that you wouldn't have even thought of. This is the power of teamwork, right? The next is delegate, okay? So this kind of is incorporated in the first part, but you want to look at what are other things that you can delegate. If I heard this one, if somebody else can do 80% of a job, do a job 80% as good as you, delegate it. So it's really important because we can build strength in our organizations when we start to delegate. And for some of you that are like, I don't have teams, I don't have a team yet, I don't have a big team, like this is in your house too. Like, how can you empower your kids, right? This is so important. Like, how can we empower our spouses, even our kids or nephews, nieces, and help them grow up to be strong leaders? And then the last part of that is in trust and encourage. Build courage, confidence, and belief in others, and don't micromanage, and don't nag on them of what they're doing wrong. ask them, hey, what do you feel like you're doing really well right now? And what are some areas that you can improve on, right? Lifting them up and making it more of a two-way street when you're giving them feedback. So empowerment. So I wanted you to think of what are the ways that you can empower team members too. And also a great example of empowering them as new team members, because we talked about sponsoring, right? New team members is empowering them in the team pages, empowering them to be more independent, right? When they ask you a question, instead of giving them the answer and enabling them, ask them, hey, I'm not too sure right now. Did you want to, sorry, my niece just texted me. I'm not too sure right now. When you asked in the group chat, did anyone respond? Notice this, instead of telling them to go put it in the group chat, you're empowering them by asking them, when you did this, what did they do? So if they didn't do it, it makes them recognize, oh, that's a great idea. I should probably do that. So they're not being told to do it. People don't want to be told what to do. That's why they sign up with us, right? Because they already have a job, most likely. So empowering people in that way, empowering people to get into action, right? And get creative and from the get-go, right? Setting these expectations from the front, right? From the beginning of their process. So I hope that these tips, I just kind of want to recap. And again, if you're tuning in, drop a heart in the comments, start to drop some takeaways, you guys. I mean, gosh, how often we get so sucked into the daily method of operations of like to-do list, task orientation. It's like, how often do we step back and say, how can I develop the people in my organization better? How can I develop myself better? How can I empower myself better? How can I empower my kids more? Right? And so I want you to ask yourself, where do you need to build stronger relationships right now within your new team members, your current prospects, and your rising leaders? Okay. The next is I want you to think of where can you start to build more influence? What communities can you start to serve and just pour into, right? To build influence in those areas, adding value, right? Whether it's in, maybe you have a health and wellness product, where can you start to just add value? Whether it's a Facebook group community, a weightlifting community with women or stay-at-home moms, where can you add free recipes, knowledge, help go live, and without having to just ask for sales and orders and right, where can you truly add value and build new relationships? And then the third is, how can you start empowering others today? Okay, I want you to look at, does that start with your new team members? Does it start with, sorry, I don't know why I'm a little nauseous. I drink too much. Oh my gosh. Okay. Sorry. This stuff is really good, but I think I drank a little too much earlier. Where can you start to empower others? Like, especially from the beginning with the new team members, how are you equipping them with the right information to help them get started? How are you building trust? And how are you even just helping them, like delegating small things to them? Like if they're new and they just got their first sale, you should be praising them. Like we talked about last week. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Be doing shout outs in the group. Say, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Can you do me a favor? Can you post in our team page how you were able to get a sale so quickly and maybe jot a couple of notes? Or can you share on our team call this week? Do you know how excited a new team member gets to share what they're doing? They're like, oh my gosh, you got a sale. And now guess what? You're praising them by rewarding them with recognition, right? And that is exactly, now they're going to duplicate that, right? And now you have them sharing tips to your team, right? Because let's be honest, not everyone wants to hear from just me or just you or just one person all the time. So you're empowering them and uplifting and encouraging them. So my hope for you is that today you're able to kind of take a look at what what areas you want to grow in your leadership skills, because I know that all of you are fantastic leaders, right? And you want to enhance those, and you want to develop you and your team members' leadership. So let's go out and, develop some more leaders. I'm really excited. Next week, my free gift. Okay, so next week, let's see. I'm really excited because next week, we're going to go into some automation. Okay, so now what we're going to do next week is we're going to talk a little bit about automation 101. So when you can combine relationship skills with some automation skills, you can really leverage. The difference between most 6 and 7 figure income earners is automation. So I'm going to give you my number 1 tips and things that you can implement to automate your business very simply. So we're going to talk about that next week. So tune in live for Feel Good Friday, next Friday at 1 Central. Depending when you're watching this, go check if the worksheet has been posted to the guides or the members area, depending again where you're viewing this video. And I want to leave you with this. This month, we are actually enhancing and talking more about automating your business. So for those of you who are interested in, and you're like, I don't even know what automation is, but all I know is that I want to work less and make more, I have a free access for you, a free 30-day trial for our Magic Time Makers community. And this is a community where we meet once a month on Zoom. You get a full group coaching session from me. You get access to ask personalized questions, do a little hot seat coaching, and a complimentary training. And then you have a members area that has all of our previous recordings that you can access, worksheets, support. So it's a great program, and I'm giving you 30 days absolutely free. So go ahead and drop a 5 in the comments. Let's do a 5 in the comments if you want access to that. I know some of you already have it. We'll be announcing our date for September. It'll be towards the second half of September, sorry. I'm like, I'm already in December. Gosh, I know, Halloween, then Christmas. Oh my goodness. So drop a 5 in the comments. And I hope that this was helpful, guys. It really helps me when you share what you took away from it, so that I can know what content you're loving, so I can give you more of that and serve you more. Also, please, I would love to know, like, if you have a testimony on any of the workshops or trainings that have supported you, please message me directly, because I would love to hear that, or post in the comment below and tag me, because we are working on some new workshops. Excited about that. Okay. We've done a lot of our 1-hour workday challenges, but now we're working on a workshop and a new challenge. So very excited. So stay tuned in our the free community. And I hope that everyone has a great weekend. And I hope you do something today to feel good, because it is Feel Good Friday. All right. Bye, everyone.